So yesterday, Smash Brothers Ultimate came out, and I decided, why not make a nail look for this? I'm already bored of my other nail look, so let's do something new. I'm not 100% sure what colors I'm going to use in this design, but I have picked out a couple blues, a lighter blue and a darker blue. I have the primary red and a cadmium red. I have yellow, and I have white and black. To start, I have painted these two fingers, a kind of rusty orange color, and a white and a gray. On my other hand, I've actually done similar, but instead of the orange rusty color, I did kind of a gray blue color. So what I'm thinking of doing for this finger is the Smash Ball design, or the Smash Brothers logo. So I'm going to take a actually slightly larger brush than you've seen me work with before, and I'm going to load it up with a couple kinds of blue, maybe a little bit of white in there as well. So let's see, this is going to be an experiment for me as well. Maybe a touch of yellow just to see if we can get some greens happening in there. Just kind of swirl it just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead to the next step of creating the silhouette of the Smash Ball logo around it. I've got some black paint, acrylic paint, that I've added a little bit of water to so that it's pretty thin. And that should hopefully make it a little bit easier to control. And what I'm going to start with is making a circle. Make a C shape and a reverse C shape. In looking at the logo, it's a thicker line going vertically and a thinner line going horizontally, and it tends to be skewed to this lower left-hand corner. So I think the strategy I'm going to use is I'm going to maybe make a dot where they're going to cross as like my anchor point. Sometimes dots will help you keep on track with where you want to draw your lines, or just keeping track of your shape and proportions. I want to do, there's these winged things, I don't know how else to call them in this new Smash Brothers. So I think I'm going to start by drawing the shapes or painting the shapes in white, and then adding their colors after I have those shapes in place. I have on the side here mixed up both of my reds, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of water. It's maybe a little too watery, but we're going to try it. To add in that, you see some of these will have like a red underside, and some of these have like a blue underside in the game. And then we'll add in our blue. I'm not going to quite add it here yet because I want to put it right next to the orange, and I don't want them to blend together. So I'm going to paint this guy up here. And one of the advantages to having the white painted down and then put the color on top, and this holds true for nail polish, some nail polishes, and then also for the acrylic paint, is sometimes your color, when it's a color, may not be potent enough on its own to pop against the background. It has a translucency to it, which you can use it to your advantage, but it can also be a disadvantage. Sometimes it'll make colors look a little more muddy if you're trying to put it on top of a gray or a black or some other dark color. So in those instances, it's helpful to have this white in the background to help it pop out against the rest of the design. The winged nail, we'll call it the winged nail, has dried. It looks like it's dried. I guess the moment of truth is to touch it, and yes, it does seem to be dry. So I can now add the blue underneath the wing on this side. Take my blue and go in under the wing over here. Our top coat is cured, and I actually applied one more layer of that top coat just to the wings, and so I have a total of 2 extra layers of top coat cured just on top of the white part of these wings. Now for the final step, what I'm thinking is the final step, I want to take that white again and put another layer on top of these wings to help increase their opacity, but I'm also hoping and wondering if that's going to give it a slightly more 3D effect. I'm going to try and take inspiration from the, I guess, transition screen that you see between when you're selecting your character for a stock battle and the actual battle. It'll show the characters that have been selected, and it does this animation that is kind of like you see the figures in the dark and their eyes glow, and then all of a sudden the light turns on and you can see their face, for lack of a better way to describe it. If you've played the game, you've seen it and you know. But so I'm going for that scene just before the light turns on, that just kind of dark silhouetted figure. And so the background in those scenes looks almost, looks dark, and it looks almost ashy. Maybe there's some floating embers in the air behind them or something. So I'm taking a very inky black. I've mixed it with water to make it look inky. And I'm going to try and add water on top. And this is going to get messy probably, but I'm just trying to make like a almost watercolory kind of gradient effect. And this is just regular tissue paper, or like it's actually toilet paper. Okay, so we have kind of like that ashy kind of look. I'm not going to do any character in particular. I'm just going to draw a round head and something for a body, and maybe something sticking up like they have a sword or something. You could make the silhouette look like a specific character if you would like. So I want to make long, thin lines that are going streaking across horizontally, and I want them to be a little bit translucent. Here we have the finished look. We are all top coated, and I oiled my cuticles, gave them a little bit, and then wiped that off just for presentation purposes. So to review again, we have our smash ball, we have the feather winged things, and we have a couple characters in their cutscene between stock battle and the actual battle. And so on this hand again, I did more warm tones for the characters, so I made the smash ball more blue tones. And for my other hand, I did warm tones for my smash ball and cooler tones for my characters. And let's see if I can get a little bit of a zoom in, so you might be able to get a little more detail on these nails here. Let's see if I can get the other hand. So that is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and thank you very much for watching.